Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Crews continue to work on the city's $7.1 million project to replace Fire Hall Number 1. The new fire hall is being built on a city-owned piece of land in the Saskatchewan Industrial Park area. Once completed, all fire administration will be located under one roof. The hall will feature bigger dormitories, wider truck bays, and have more space for training exercises. According to Mayor Gerald Albers, work is moving forward according to schedule.
This week or very early next week on the ground. The walls are being constructed as we speak, and they'll be closed in again in the next week or so.
Work will continue on the interior of the project during the winter months with the goal of being fully operational in 2022.
The project will continue to move forward throughout the winter. We have an apron poured in front of the fire hall bays for the fire trucks, and like I say, once the asphalt is down and we get it enclosed, work will continue, but you won't see it as great progress because they'll be working on the inside.
The current fire hall was originally built in the 1940s. It was determined in 2019 that it would need to be replaced. The Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce hosted its 2021 Business Excellence Awards last night.
The gala was designed to recognize the best in local business as voted by the public. After more than a year and a half of uncertainty, Mayor Gerald Albers says that the event serves as a testament to the strength of local business.
Give yourselves a round of applause, because it's been a tough year, and I think we've made it through.
Still, some of that uncertainty remains. Kaylee Spence of the Hive Boutique took home the hardware for best customer service. She says that supply chain shortages could impact sales heading into the holiday season.
I think I just received a July shipment this month, so everything is set back at least 3 to 4 months, but everybody's in the same boat, so everybody's understanding and we're all willing to work together.
Other award winners include Guardian Plumbing and Heating for Business of the Year and Residents in Recovery for Nonprofit of the Year, as Tyler Lawrence spoke to his personal journey as founder.
Wow, am I ever humbled to be up here. 6 years ago I was still stuck in active addiction, and I had no idea where my life was going to go. I was in and out of jail, struggling with what my future was going to hold, and things have changed quite a bit.
For a full list of award winners, you can check out our Facebook page. Tate Lakecraft, Primetime Local News.
Welcome back. Indigenous farmers were the first to steward the land in what is now the Canadian prairies. Many of their traditional practices have been forgotten, but a University of Saskatchewan professor is working to help teach Indigenous farming practices. Jillian Code has the interview.
Today, I'm joined by Melissa Arcand, who is an associate professor at the College of Agriculture and Bioresources at the University of Saskatchewan. Melissa, could you just start off by telling me a bit about your areas of research?
So I'm a soil scientist, and I did my PhD in soil science at the University of Saskatchewan, looking at nutrient cycling in pulse crop systems. But since I was hired at the University of Saskatchewan as a faculty member, part of my job was also to teach and to advise in the Kanawai-Ketan-Aski program, which is a certificate program designed to train students working in Indigenous communities around land and resource management. And nearly every year, my students are 100% Indigenous, or the cohort of students are comprised of Indigenous students. And through that experience in teaching those students, and they come from all across Canada, inevitably, every single student that may have come from Manitoba, Saskatchewan, or Alberta, within their role and their jobs in their home communities working in land management, they always have the experience of working to manage lands that are agricultural lands. And I myself come from Muskeg Lake Cree Nation in Treaty 6 territory, and I grew up on a grain farm. My parents farmed for 37 years on the reserve, so farmed solely land that was on the reserve. And so through both personal experience and in working with students who work for their First Nation after they graduate, it came to be quite clear that there was large gaps in our knowledge base in terms of current present day soil management and agricultural management, and how that relates to ensuring that land that is being farmed on the reserve, which is primarily being done by non-Indigenous neighboring farmers, wanting to ensure that those lands are being sustainably managed, for long-term sustainability, and not only just for the economic gain that might be disproportionately reaped by the farmer and not the nation.
Yeah, and you briefly touched on it before, but there are a variety of systemic barriers that Indigenous farmers are faced with. I know the issue is very multifaceted, but maybe what are some of the larger issues that Indigenous farmers are facing?
Probably the biggest barrier stems out of any policy that comes out of the Indian Act. And so, for example, probably the most common practical barrier that First Nations face is that because we don't own our land, it can't be used, to go and get a loan. So that's a real barrier that not people who own their own land. So, even an Indigenous person who owns their own land, like I own my own house, I have capital, and I can use that to build up my own credit and to be able to go out and gain, get another loan. And that's not the case for First Nations people who might have, would definitely have access to land, and that land might be, incredibly high quality, good land. But if you're needing to buy farm equipment and inputs and all of the really capital intensive, infrastructure that you need to farm, and you can't go out and get a loan, well, you're kind of, that's a major barrier. So that's probably the biggest barrier, is just that inability to access the, capital needed to farm.
Absolutely. And for non-Indigenous farmers, what are some lessons that they could maybe learn from practices within Indigenous agriculture?
I think if, neighboring, not only just neighboring farmers, but neighboring non-Indigenous people could really benefit from understanding why, First Nations people, don't participate in agriculture to the same degree that everybody else does. And I think if they can understand that there was some, real institutional policy barriers that caused that to happen, it would probably help to understand, the desire and in some cases need to kind of revitalize that. But I think there's also a lot to be learned about just the way that Indigenous people view the land and our relationship to the land, that it's a reciprocal relationship, and one in which there's not just a material connection, but also a real cultural, spiritual connection to the land. And I think even just having an understanding of that relationship, it could go a long way in also understanding why there's such a strong desire and connection to wanting to protect the lands, steward the land over with the long-term goals in mind, for protecting that land for future generations.
For sure. Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me about this today.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
It's time now for a look at your agriculture prices for today. The 2021 ice hockey season may be early in its schedule, but that doesn't stop its sports relative, ball hockey, from preparing its Team Canada roster. For more, our Evan Kenny sat down with one player from the tryout.
Well, hockey fans in Lloydminster know our next guest for being tied for the team lead in points on the Lloydminster Bobcats. However, today he is here to talk about his invitation to the Team Canada ball hockey selection camp this past weekend. I'm pleased to be joined now by Zafir Rauji. Zafir, thanks for taking this time and joining me. Obviously, busy weekend last weekend. I guess just take us through the whole process here.
Yeah, I was in Montreal. Pretty crazy story of how I got there. You know, our game ended at around 10 p.m. on Friday here in Lloydminster, and my flight left Edmonton at 12:20 a.m. So I had a buddy who's a pilot who rented a little propeller plane, took me from Lloydminster to Edmonton, had about 30 minutes, got on the plane, got from Edmonton to Toronto, about a 20-minute layover, and then right to Montreal, got there at 9:30 a.m. and quick nap, and we were leaving for the rink by 11. Yeah, so the Saturday we had two games and they were full games with refs, penalties, like everything. Everything was pretty legit. And then two games on Saturday, and then we played one game on Sunday. Had a little bit of time to go see old Montreal a little bit, and then right back to Edmonton. Drove up to Lloydminster Monday morning, 8 a.m., and then back to the normal routine.
And I guess it pays off to have some good friends then.
Lucky I had the connection there, and then it all worked out perfect. I was pretty lucky. I think we were one of the only teams that didn't play Saturday or Sunday for whatever reason this weekend, so it just turned out to be perfect that I was able to go and have this experience.
Now, Zafir, how does it feel to be one of 50 players from across the entire nation invited to this selection camp?
Yeah, definitely an honor. You know, ball hockey is something that I've been playing since I was as little as I could remember, and it's something I take a lot of pride in as well. So being able this summer previously to go to the Nationals, you know, we ended up losing in the gold medal game there, but to be able to showcase myself at that tournament, to be able to be selected now to go as one of the top 50 was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, and I'm super grateful that I got to go share that experience with so many great players.
Now, have you ever done anything quite like this in the sense of, you know, representing your country or even your province at different events like this?
Never really Canada. Usually when we take teams, we just use our Edmonton team and represent all. So I've been, every time I would go to nationals growing up as a kid, it would sort of be like that, just representing the Edmonton area. So this was a cool experience to be able to wear the Canadian logo for the first time.
Now, I've got to ask this, Zafir. Obviously, both of them are hockey. There are obviously differences, one being played on the ice versus, you know, on the ground. I guess just, you know, tell us in your own words, how do you think the two games translate?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Honestly, a lot of the things we learn through playing ice hockey is easy to translate over to ball hockey. I know a lot of guys in ice hockey before the game will use a ball and start stick handling off the ice to warm up their hands. So there's definitely similarities there, but there's definitely some huge differences in, obviously you're on your feet, you're not in skates, so there's no gliding at all. So when you stop moving your feet, you're not moving anywhere. So it's a lot more running, a lot harder on that side of things. But other than that, it's pretty similar, and it's really fun to switch between the two.
And I assume playing ball hockey helps you on the ice and sort of vice versa, right?
Oh, exactly. I think it goes both way where it helps a ton.
Now, final question for you, Zafir. You're a young guy, just 20 years old. I assume you were one of the youngest, if not the youngest player at this selection camp. Now, for you, does that motivate you? Does that intimidate you? Just tell me how that makes you feel, you know, going into this camp as the youngest.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Honestly, I know Chris Kerr, who used to be a goalie in the Alberta Junior League, he was there with me as well. So we were kind of the two young guys. Everybody else seemed to be around 28, 29 to all the way to, I think, 40. There were some guys. So it was a pretty cool experience for me, you know, chatting with these guys from different provinces. They're telling me about their kids and that their kids are playing hockey and stuff. So it's a little bit different for me being one of the youngest guys, but definitely cool and something that I really cherish being able to have that opportunity. And I just use it as motivation to push myself.
Well, Zafir, thank you so much for taking this time and joining me. I wish you all the best with your ball hockey career, and I look forward to seeing some of those skills translate back onto the ice at the Civic Center this upcoming Wednesday for the Lloydminster Bobcats' next home game.
Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Now for a second look at weather, we once again throw to Shelby Clark.
Thanks so much, Tate. Now taking another look at your weather forecast, we'll be starting off with taking a look at temperatures across central Alberta and Saskatchewan here. Looking a little bit cooler in Whitecourt and Edson as they're sitting at 3 degrees. Rocky Mountain House is at 8, while Athabasca is at 10 degrees, and Red Deer and Jasper a bit warmer at 12 and 14. And switching over to this side here, looking a lot cooler in most spots over on this side, while most are sitting at that 6 and 7 degree mark, but Saskatoon is a bit warmer at 9 degrees. And switching over to our northern region of the provinces, they are seeing a lot cooler temperatures as well. La Loche, Buffalo, Narrows are at 6 degrees, 4 in Uranium City, 2 in La Ronge, Flin Flon, and Stony Rapids, while Williston Lake and South End are at 1 degree right there. And switching over to this side here, 7 in Peace River and Grand Prairie, 8 in Fort McMurray, Fort Chipewyan, and Slave Lake, while high levels right in the middle there at 6 degrees. As we switch over to our southern region of the provinces, they are, as always, seeing a little bit warmer temperatures, especially over here on the Alberta side. Lethbridge is at 17 degrees, while Medicine Hat is at 19, so almost reaching that 20 degree mark even. 11 in Calgary, while Coronation is at 13, and Banff is a little bit cooler, sitting at 8 degrees. And switching over to this side here, they are seeing a lot cooler temperatures. Kindersley is at 12 degrees, 10 in Swift Current, while 9 in Regina and Moose Jaw. Estevan is at 8 degrees, while Yorkton is at 6. But as we go back across the region to temperatures overnight tonight, we are seeing slightly warmer actually than what we've been seeing earlier on in the week, surprisingly. Meadow Lake will be seeing a low of -3. Isle Cross will be seeing 0 for their low tonight. Pierceland will be seeing a low of 1 degree there, while most will be seeing a low of -1. And Bonnyville and Wainwright will be seeing a bit warmer with +3 for their lows tonight. But most spots will be seeing a high chance of some showers throughout the night, while Isle Cross, Paradise Hill, and Meadow Lake will be seeing more cloudier skies. And as we switch to temperatures tomorrow across the region throughout the night, we will be cooling down. Unfortunately for our Saturday here in most spots across the region, they will be seeing around 5 to 7 degrees in most spots. We will be seeing a high chance of some precipitation even here in the border city as we switch over to our 7-day forecast. And Saturday, as I was saying, we will be seeing around a 70% chance there with a lot more cloudier skies. Although Sunday, we will end the weekend off with a little bit more sun peeking behind those clouds at 10 degrees there. And we'll keep on that same track to next week with 13 on Monday with a mix of some sun and cloud there. Tuesday we'll be seeing a lot more sun, so we are seeing some warmer days starting off next week with Tuesday at 12 degrees there. Wednesday we'll see a mix of some sun and cloud as well, and then we will still be seeing a double-digit temperature with 11 degrees. And Thursday we will be seeing another day with a high chance of some precipitation at 9 degrees, and Friday 8.
Today, I'm joined by Renee Coleman to talk about her new cookbook, Vegetables, A Love Story. So to start, would you be able to just tell me a little bit about this book?
Sure, it's called Vegetables, A Love Story. So here's the cover. And it's about vegetables. And it all started when my boyfriend gave me a bundle of asparagus on our first date 5.5 years ago. He's a vegetable farmer and I'm a professional cook / baker. So it was a very good fit. He's a food guy and I'm a food girl. So it's a match made in heaven. So the book is inspired by all the vegetables he'd bring to my door.
In the book, it definitely has all the recipes, but it's also a little bit about your relationship to your partner and then also your guys' relationship with vegetables. Could you maybe talk a little bit about that?
So it's about our relationship together, and cooking and food is about nurturing, right? So he nurtures me when he brings me vegetables, and I nurture him when I cook the vegetables and we have dinner together. So I think sharing food together is a huge part of our relationship. It's just so symbiotic with his vegetables and my cooking. And yeah, I just love what he's able to bring to my door and all the recipes that's been inspired by his vegetables.
And then so sort of growing up in the prairies on a farm, do you think that shaped the way that you cook now?
I do. I lived on a farm till I was about 7. And so like one of my earliest memories is digging up potatoes, right? With these little hands, and you're kind of searching underneath the dirt to try and find the potatoes. And And even just running through tall, the corn, like when you're a little kid and you're running through corn, it's like the best thing ever. So from an early age, I knew, had a good idea of where food came from. And so that's, of course, it's shown in the stories as well in my book and in the recipes too. And Dixon as well, obviously he grew up on a farm growing vegetables with his family. So we both have this knowledge of like the earth and respect for the earth and our environment and just feeding people.
Both my parents grew up on farms, so we had big vegetable gardens that we'd go every fall and we'd collect all the fresh vegetables too.
Yeah, and then just like how those seasonal vegetables taste so much better than, anything you can get in the grocery store, like a summer fresh tomato or like new potatoes and beans and peas, right? It just tastes so good. So the book also talks about like eating seasonally and eating locally as much as possible, that sort of thing. And just trying to buy from local farmers if you can. And growing your own food too, because it tastes so much better.
And then for the book, each chapter is arranged by different vegetables. Do you maybe have a favorite chapter or a favorite recipe from the book?
Yeah, it's from A to Z. So asparagus to zucchini and everything in between. I initially had about 130 recipes, and my publisher was like, Renee, we can't, it'll be huge. So she's like, how about 80? And I'm like, oh gosh, how about 90? So we kind of narrowed it down to 90, which meant I had to eliminate some chapters. I wanted to do like a celery chapter and an eggplant chapter and a leek chapter, but those didn't make the cut, unfortunately. But I do love cabbage, like all the brassicas that people kind of overlook or else just overboil. But I love cabbage. You're gonna have probably 10 more cabbage recipes as it was. I think there's like five or six in the cabbage section. And same with potatoes. I think, people really love potatoes in the prairie provinces. So I think I had about 10 potato recipes I had to knock down to 5 or 6. So I love the potato chapter and the tomato chapter too. I could have gone on and on about tomatoes, but as it is, there's like, I think 5 or 6. So.
And then, so when was the book published?
The official publication date was October 12th, so just last week. And it's in stores now, it's online. You can pretty much find it, wherever your favorite books are sold.
And so is the book all primarily vegetarian dishes? Is there also some other meat dishes as well with vegetables?
It reflects a lot of how I eat. So I do eat meat. I love bacon. I love like hamburger and chicken. So there is a little bit of meat in the book. It's vegetable focused for sure, but there is ground beef and chicken and shrimp and some fish. A lot of pulses like lentils and beans to give people a bit of an idea on how to use them, and also just to stretch. If you are cooking with ground beef, you can also stretch, things with lentils to make it go a little bit further. It's vegetable focused for sure, but not completely vegetarian. If you are vegetarian, there's a lot of options on how to eliminate the meat and still have it be delicious. Or if you want to add meat to some of the recipes, I give lots of, substitution advice as well for that. If you have to have, meat in your chili, then sure, go ahead and add some meat. So it's really flexible, I think, and really adaptable to however people eat. Yeah.
That's great. Congratulations on the book. And thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
You have the opportunity to go through unique treasures to find something one of a kind for your home. Coming up tomorrow night, you're invited to Third Bay. It is an art, antiques, and oddities sale, and they describe it as an eclectic mix of awesomeness. So maybe you're looking for an antique, maybe you're looking for artwork. How about a collectible 40th anniversary Barbie doll? There's a vintage ice bucket, there's woodworking, figurines, so much more. You can check out some of the items on their Facebook page right now, but to see them all, head for the Reclaim building tomorrow between 6 and 9 p.m. Funds raised will go to the Olive Tree. Check it out tomorrow night. Coming up on Sunday, the kids have the chance to be creative at Legacy DIY, Lloydminster's Makerspace. They have a couple of different craft opportunities for the kids. For the younger kids, chance to make your very own trick-or-treat bag so that you're ready for Halloween. So if you have kids between the ages of 4 and 7, that's a great class that you can get them registered for. And then for kids between the ages of 12 and 17, they have a chance for them to make wooden pumpkin lanterns. For more details, check out Legacy DIY on Facebook. And coming up this Sunday in Marwayne, the community hall is hosting a walkthrough fall supper. And make sure you mark November 4th on your calendar for a drive-through pierogi supper that's being hosted in Vermilion. Pre-order your plate by October the 27th, $15 a plate, and it's being hosted by the Vermilion Ukrainian Cultural Association. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Joining us for this week's entertainment panel is the lovely Abby St. John in her new office even. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Shelby.
Of course, no problem. So starting off, we will be talking about some more kind of disappointing news, I guess, with more of the Marvel movies right now. There was an announcement that they are pushing back the dates of most movies, you know, starting off with Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. It will be released in May instead of March, and I know there's going to be a lot of disappointed fans right now, but what do you think? What other kind of movies are going to be pushed back?
Yeah, so basically every movie that Marvel is scheduled to release after Spider-Man, so like you said, starting with Doctor Strange too, they're all being delayed. And some of the reasons for that being is COVID surges are happening, and that could lead to shooting delays, especially since Black Panther is still shooting right now. So that could run into each other's release dates. So Disney just decided to push them all back before that happens, and I think that's a smart idea because, you know, COVID is still increasing, and like it said, there are surges. So Disney, I guess, was a little worried that especially Marvel movies, how they're so connected, that they were going to run into each other. So they just decided to push back all the movies, starting with Doctor Strange. Like you said, it was supposed to come out in March. It's now coming out May 6th. Thor, Love and Thunder was supposed to come out in May. Now it's coming out in July 8th. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is coming out November 11th instead of in July. The Marvels was supposed to come out in November, but now it's coming out February 17th of 2023. Ant-Man, Quantumanium is coming out July 28th, 2023. And then also, instead of Marvel, Disney is also pushing back the release date of their Indiana Jones 5 a whole year. So instead of coming out in July of 2022, it's now coming out in July on June 30th, 2023. So a lot of pushback by Disney and not just Marvel. So it makes sense why they're doing it, especially with the Marvel movies, how they do all connect. They don't want it to run into each other. So it does make sense. It is very disappointing, however, because there have already been so many pushbacks with Marvel. But the TV series that they have been putting on Disney Plus are still scheduled for their original release dates. So we'll still have that to look forward to.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we will at least get a little something out of it, especially with the TV shows and how much of a hit they've been so far. It's not too bad to still have those on schedule rather than the movies. And yeah, the Indiana Jones fans I know are going to be very disappointed just with the whole year pushback. But I agree with how you are saying that it does make sense and rather to be safe than sorry. So hopefully everybody could just be patient and we'll get there in time. But some better news now. Of course, we have to talk about this, the Batman's trailer, how it has came out. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of talk about it. The trailer looks very intense. I think a lot of people are very excited to see, especially, you know, some scenes of the Riddler already in the movie. Of course, seeing, you know, Catwoman, Batman, seeing how good looking the cast especially looks. It's going to be fascinating how this movie's going to turn out.
Yeah, the trailer definitely gives a deeper look at Robert Pattinson's Batman, and it feels darker than Christian Bale's as a comparison. And I think Robert Pattinson is going to do an excellent job. The trailer itself shows that. This definitely does seem like a more intense, more darker version of Batman. So I'm very excited for it, and I know DC fans and Batman fans alike are also very excited for it. And it is different. It gives a different feeling from the last Batman movies. And during the trailer, they never reveal the Riddler's face. So we see his back, we see his front from his chest up to his neck, but we never see his face. That's something that never gets revealed in the trailer. So I think that's interesting. You'll have to wait till the movie to actually see his face. And I like how they're doing that because the Riddler is that mysterious villain that, loves playing games, loves giving Batman riddles to where he is, what he's up to, what his plans are. So having him not being revealed in the trailer, I think, was a very smart idea, and I think it'll add to the tone of the actual movie. And it seems like the Riddler is that main villain that Batman is needing to stop, but the Penguin also gets in the way. He's a prominent villain in the trailer. Zoe Kravitz looks amazing as Catwoman, and I'm very excited to see her in the actual role in the full movie. But what we get from the trailer, I think she's the perfect choice for Catwoman. And the trailer does open up with what seems to be the Riddler getting arrested, because it pans to a cup of coffee and the foam is in the form of a question mark. So I think that's a great way to start off the trailer, because we get to see that the Riddler is the main villain in this film, and it's kind of messing with Bruce Wayne's head, Batman's head. So he's definitely going to be after him. And then of course the Penguin is the most prominent villain in the trailer, so we're going to see a lot of him as well. I'm very excited to see it. I think Robert Pattinson was a great choice for Bruce Wayne and for Batman, and it's going to be an interesting movie.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it as well, especially with what you're saying, how well Zoe Kravitz looked. She looked amazing. She's definitely going to give past Catwoman actresses a run for their money on who the best one is, and Robert Pattinson definitely is such a great choice for the Batman. I love how dark it looks. Batman has always had that dark kind of theme, but this Batman definitely looks like he is out for some vengeance, and he's definitely going to get it. But it's going to be great to see, but that's all the time we have for this week's entertainment panel. Thanks again so much for joining us today, Abby.
Thank you.
And taking a final look at your 7-day forecast here. Saturday and Sunday, we'll be seeing more of a cooler day on Saturday with that 70% chance of some precipitation with a lot more cloudier skies. But Sunday, we will end off on a warm note at 10 degrees with a little bit more sun peeking behind those clouds. We'll keep on that same track for next week, with Monday starting with 13 degrees with a mix of some sun and cloud. Tuesday, we'll see a bit more sun there at 12 degrees. Wednesday, we'll see 11 as well there, but we will be seeing a little bit more cloudier skies. And Thursday and Friday will cool down just a bit, and we will be seeing a high chance of some precipitation on Thursday once again there with 9 degrees, and Friday will end it off at 8.
That's all the time we have for right now, but we'll have more local news for you in the next hour. I'm Tate Lakecraft.